Sam Elliott, just hearing the name, brings to mind rugged cowboys, lone gunslingers, and that unmistakable, gravelly voice. From his early uncredited appearance in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid to his Oscar-nominated turn in A Star is Born, Elliott has been a steadfast figure in Hollywood. With roles in cult favorites like the Big Lebowski and Western staples such as Tombstone, he's etched his place as a cinematic icon. But behind the mustache and deep voice lies a layered story. His journey includes personal tragedy, going against industry norms, and nurturing a decades-long relationship with actress Catherine Ross. Still, whispers linger, rumors of hidden pain and possible struggles beneath the surface. Elliott didn't emerge a legend. He was born Samuel Pack Elliott in Sacramento, California, in 1944. His early life could have been lifted from a Western screenplay. His mother, Glenn, a spirited Texan and former diving champion, worked as a physical education teacher. His father, Henry, was employed by the Department of the Interior, tracking down predators that endangered livestock and ecosystems, a man whose work mirrored the rugged landscapes Sam would later portray. But California was only the prologue. At age 13, Sam's life took a turn when the family moved to Portland, Oregon. There, surrounded by the misty forests of the Pacific Northwest, he attended David Douglas High School. He wasn't your typical leading man in those days, and his path was already veering from the conventional. He briefly enrolled at the University of Oregon, but college life didn't captivate him. Everything changed when he took part in a production of Guys and Dolls at Clark College. The applause, the spotlight, it lit a fire. One local journalist even suggested that Elliott pursue acting seriously. Sam and his father, Henry Nelson Elliott, shared a quiet bond built on countless hours spent outdoors, fishing, exploring, simply being together. These moments instilled in Sam a love of nature and a calm strength that would later define his on-screen presence. Yet, there was tension too. Henry, pragmatic and rooted in a different era, doubted Hollywood's promise. "You've got a snowball's chance in hell in that town," he once told his son. It was the classic standoff, the dreamer versus the realist. But beneath it all, there remained a mutual love and deep respect. Then, heartbreak struck. In 1962, just as Sam was finishing high school, his father died suddenly of a heart attack at only 54. It happened at home, in the arms of Glenn, his wife. For Sam, the loss was devastating. In his characteristically understated way, he later described it as a bummer. Speaking in a 2018 off-camera show interview, Elliott reflected, "He died thinking, man, this kid's gonna go down the wrong path. And I think in some ways that either hurt me or helped sharpen my resolve." Though Henry never lived to witness his son's rise, Sam has always believed that his father would have been proud. So how did Sam Elliott transform grief into determination and launch a career that would span generations? The 1960s were marked by emotional upheaval for Sam. Grieving his father's death and searching for purpose, he considered enlisting to fight in the Vietnam War. But after a heartfelt conversation with his mother and thoughtful counsel from a family friend, he chose a different route. He enlisted in the California Air National Guard, a decision that may have saved his life. Though he never saw active combat, Elliott valued his time in service. He later admitted feeling both fortunate to have stayed stateside and guilty, knowing many others weren't as lucky. These mixed emotions later influenced his decision to take on numerous military roles throughout his career. With his commanding presence and authoritative voice, he embodied soldiers and officers with realism and dignity. Elliott didn't just play military characters, he honored real-life service members. He participated in special projects, including a short film produced for the U.S. Vietnam War commemoration and a 2020 documentary titled Honor Guard, which paid tribute to those who served. After completing his service in the National Guard, Sam Elliott packed up his ambitions and made his way to Los Angeles. Hollywood in the late 1960s was a far cry from the sprawling industry it is today, smaller, more insular, and dominated by a few powerful studios and TV networks. Cracking into it was no easy feat. To sharpen his skills, Elliott joined an acting workshop offered by Columbia Pictures, but the journey to stardom came with a side of grit. He took on construction gigs and odd jobs just to keep the lights on. Like many before him, Elliott's path was unpredictable, shaped as much by timing as talent. A distant family connection led him to an assistant director, a friend of a neighbor of his mother's. While the link didn't immediately launch his career, it placed him in the right circles. Then fate intervened in an unexpected way. While doing some carpentry work on a house, he crossed paths with casting director Bob Thompson. Despite their complicated introduction, Thompson was romantically interested in Elliott, who had a family. The two struck up a friendship. It was Thompson who ultimately connected Elliott to his first talent agent, giving him a long-awaited foot in the door. In the beginning, Elliott's screen time came mostly from modest roles in television westerns. His first credited TV appearance came in 1969, playing Dan Kenyon in a Judd for the Defense episode titled The Crystal Maze. That same year, he made his film debut, though uncredited, as card player number 2 in the legendary Western Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford. The irony wasn't lost on Elliott. The man who would later become synonymous with the Western genre had started as a background extra without a single line. That minor role would gain new significance almost a decade later. In 1978, while filming The Legacy, Elliott met actress Catherine Ross, who had starred in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Their on-set romance blossomed, and by 1984, the two were married. They've remained together ever since, one of Hollywood's rare, enduring love stories. The 1970s and early 80s marked a period of slow, steady progress. Elliott wasn't a household name, but he became a recognizable face, often cast as the rugged side character in both television series and made-for-TV movies. In the 1970-71 season, he played Doug Robert in the hit show Mission: Impossible. Around the same time, his cowboy persona found its way into a series of Falstaff beer commercials, where he embodied the classic all-American frontiersman. His first major acting break came in 1975, when he starred in I Will Fight No More Forever, portraying Charles Wood in a dramatization of Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce tribe's fight against relocation. This was followed by another lead role in the acclaimed miniseries Once an Eagle, 1976-77, where he played Sam Damon. But it was the 1976 independent film Lifeguard that truly gave him center stage. As Rick Carlson, a veteran lifeguard wrestling with existential questions, Elliott finally had a leading role in theaters. The film did well commercially but was met with lukewarm critical response, and Elliott was deeply disappointed with how the studio marketed it, feeling it cheapened the story. His outspokenness about that frustration strained his relationship with Paramount Pictures and likely closed doors to future collaborations. Elliott also confronted the darker side of Hollywood. In a 1980 interview, he spoke candidly about the sexual propositions he encountered during auditions, offered by both men and women. He refused to play into it, knowing it may have cost him roles. "It probably hurt me," he said, "but my conscience is clear." Decades later, Elliott would lend his support to the Me Too movement, acknowledging the challenges faced by women in the business. Despite these setbacks, he continued carving out a niche for himself. In 1977's miniseries Aspen, he portrayed Tom Keating, and in a dramatic turn, he played an abusive murderer in 1981's Murder in Texas, acting alongside Farrah Fawcett and his future wife, Catherine Ross. The miniseries format suited Elliott well. He continued appearing in TV films throughout the 1980s, including 1985's A Death in California, opposite Cheryl Ladd. His work in television and film expanded throughout the decade. He starred in 2 Western miniseries based on Louis L'Amour novels, The Sackets, 1979, and The Shadow Riders, 1982, both opposite Tom Selleck, solidifying his affinity for the genre. Elliott also demonstrated versatility with his performance in 1985's Mask, where he played a tough but caring father figure opposite Cher. Later that year, he tapped into his gentler side once more in the holiday classic Prancer, playing a sympathetic single dad. By the late 1980s, Elliott's resume was filled with memorable supporting roles and guest appearances on shows like Gunsmoke, Lancer, Hawaii Five-0, and Felony Squad. In 1995, his portrayal of Wild Bill Hickok in Buffalo Girls showed his knack for bringing historical figures to life. A year later, in Gone to Texas, he took on the role of Sam Houston, a complex man, a warrior politician with a fraught past and a deep bond with the Cherokee Nation. But the turning point came in 1989 when Elliott played Wade Garrett, the seasoned barroom brawler and mentor to Patrick Swayze's character in Roadhouse. It was a cult hit, and his performance struck a chord with audiences, elevating him from a reliable character actor to a fan favorite. Still, the question lingered. Would this grizzled, steadfast actor finally reach the fame he deserved? The 1990s would bring answers, and at last, the recognition Sam Elliott had spent decades earning. In 1991, Sam Elliott finally appeared alongside his real-life wife, Catherine Ross, in the television adaptation of Louis L'Amour's Conager. The film not only showcased his leading man capabilities, but also highlighted the enduring strength of their off-screen relationship. That same decade would prove pivotal for Elliott's legacy in Western cinema. A defining moment came in 1993 when he took on the role of Brigadier General John Buford in the historical epic Gettysburg. That same year, he earned further acclaim for portraying Virgil Earp in the critically celebrated Tombstone, starring opposite Kurt Russell. With his rugged features and reserved intensity, Elliott seemed born for the part of the stoic Western lawman, a role that now felt tailor-made for him. These performances didn't just boost his visibility, they finally etched his name into the public consciousness. No longer was he merely a familiar face. Sam Elliott had officially arrived. New opportunities followed. He landed roles in a wide range of films, from the 2002 war drama We Were Soldiers to the sharp satire Thank You for Smoking. And of course, no discussion of Elliott's 1990s work would be complete without mentioning his unforgettable appearance as the stranger in the Coen brothers' cult hit the Big Lebowski, 1998. With his philosophical tone and soothing drawl, Elliott's narration gave the film a unique, grounded charm. Ironically, The Big Lebowski didn't find its audience right away. Upon release, critics were lukewarm and it earned just $17.4 million domestically, barely clearing its $15 million budget. But time proved kinder to the quirky film. Today, it's revered as one of the Coen brothers' most iconic creations, and Elliott's mysterious cowboy narrator remains one of its most cherished elements. Interestingly, Elliott was initially reluctant to play yet another cowboy-type figure, but that hesitation vanished when he read the script. Over the dialogue, there's this tumbleweed blowing in, and talk about a Southwestern accent, sounding not unlike Sam Elliott, he shared in an NPR interview. He soon discovered, much to his amusement, that the Coens had written the part with him in mind. During production, Elliott grew frustrated with the repeated takes of his final scene. But the Coens eventually confessed they had captured the perfect version much earlier. They simply enjoyed watching him perform again and again, a testament to his screen presence and the layered depth he brought to the role. His portrayal of the stranger became a symbol of the film's enduring charm. With a voice like worn leather, Elliott guided viewers through the surreal journey of the dude, offering wry insight and a touch of the ethereal. Even as comic book films began to dominate the box office, Elliott found ways to adapt. Though Westerns were his natural habitat, he took a detour into the world of superheroes. In 2003, long before the Marvel Cinematic Universe took hold, Elliott played General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in Ang Lee's Hulk. While the film starred Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly, it was Elliott's stern performance as the disapproving military man that grounded the film's more fantastical elements. However, when the Hulk character was rebooted in 2008 with The Incredible Hulk, Elliott's role was handed to William Hurt, who would go on to portray General Ross throughout the MCU. Still, Elliott wasn't done with the genre. In 2007, he stepped into the supernatural once again in Ghost Rider, produced by 20th Century Fox. Gone were the fatigues. Instead, Elliott donned a weathered cowboy look as the caretaker, a mysterious mentor guiding Nicolas Cage's fiery anti-hero. It was a full-circle transformation, from authoritarian figure to mystical sidekick. While neither Hulk nor Ghost Rider are part of Marvel's main continuity today, fans often wonder, especially after William Hurt's passing, whether Elliott could reprise his role as General Ross in some form. Has the iconic cowboy hung up his superhero spurs for good? That answer, only time will reveal. Sam Elliott's career maintained a steady climb throughout the 2000s. In 2002, he delivered a powerful performance as Command Sergeant Major Basil L. Plumley in We Were Soldiers, demonstrating his strength in portraying real-life military figures. The following year, he stepped into the superhero genre with Hulk, taking on the role of General Thaddeus Ross. But Elliott wasn't content to be typecast. In 2005's critically acclaimed satire, Thank You for Smoking, he took on a deeply emotional role, playing a former Marlboro man battling terminal lung cancer. A year later, he explored animation, voicing Ben the Cow in the successful family film Barnyard. The year 2007 marked a leap into fantasy for Elliott. He first portrayed Carter Slade in Ghost Rider, a mystical cowboy mentor. That same year, he entered the world of his dark materials as Lee Scoresby in The Golden Compass, sharing the screen with heavyweights like Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig. Elliott's reach extended well beyond film. His iconic voice, deep, gravelly, and unmistakably American, became a staple in advertising. He represented major brands like Coors Beer and Dodge Ram trucks, even lending his voice to IBM and the American Beef Council. In an unexpected yet fitting twist, Elliott became the voice of Smokey Bear in 2008. The connection ran deeper than coincidence. Elliott and Smokey share an August 9th birthday, and both he and wife Catherine Ross have seen firsthand the devastation wildfires can cause. In 2009, Elliott made a brief but memorable appearance in Up in the Air as the chief pilot of American Airlines. He also ventured into comedy with a recurring role on Parks and Recreation, playing Ron Dunn, the free-spirited counterpart to Ron Swanson. In 2010, he voiced Buster, also known as Chupadogra, in the animated feature Marmaduke. Yet perhaps his most surprising wave of acclaim came in the 2010s. Though already a respected Hollywood presence, this decade firmly established Elliott as a cinematic icon. Recurring roles in popular Netflix series like The Ranch and Grace and Frankie kept him in the public eye. His voice also returned to animation, bringing warmth and gravitas to The Good Dinosaur in 2015. Of course, no conversation about Sam Elliott would be complete without acknowledging his most recognizable trait, his glorious mustache. That trademark of rugged masculinity earned him a spot in the Mustache Hall of Fame in 2015. He joined a legendary lineup that includes Teddy Roosevelt, Hulk Hogan, and Yosemite Sam. Elliott, ever humble, found the honor amusing, but it was just one of many accolades recognizing his enduring appeal. In 2017, he took on a role that seemed destined for him. In The Hero, Elliott played an aging Western actor confronting his legacy and fading fame. It was a deeply personal performance, and with good reason. The role had been written specifically for him by director Brett Haley, who had long admired Elliott's screen presence. The result was a nuanced, heartfelt portrayal that won over critics. However, it was Elliott's performance in the 2018 remake of A Star is Born that catapulted him to a new level of recognition. Playing Bobby Maine, the conflicted half-brother and manager of Bradley Cooper's troubled musician, Elliott delivered a performance full of restraint and emotional depth. The film, which also starred Lady Gaga, was both a box office juggernaut, earning $436 million worldwide, and an awards season favorite, receiving 8 Oscar nominations. For Elliott, the role marked a career milestone. His moving performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, a long-overdue honor. He also took home the Best Supporting Actor prize from the National Board of Review, cementing what fans had always believed. Sam Elliott's talent is not only genuine, it's timeless. And with no signs of slowing down, Elliott remains as vital a figure in Hollywood today as ever. In 2021 and 2022, Sam Elliott once again captivated audiences with his gripping performance as the hardened trail leader Shay Brennan in 1883, the highly acclaimed Yellowstone prequel. This powerful role not only reinforced his iconic status, but also earned him another well-deserved Screen Actors Guild Award. Though Elliott is often associated with intense dramatic roles, particularly as rugged cowboys, he has shown glimpses of his comedic side throughout his career. His appearances in Parks and Recreation, American Dad, and the cult classic The Big Lebowski hinted at this versatility. Still, a full-blown sitcom seemed like a departure from his usual terrain. That's why when Netflix offered him the part of Bo Bennett in the 2016 comedy The Ranch, Elliott nearly turned it down. The series, centered around 2 mismatched brothers, played by Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson, trying to manage their family's Colorado ranch, cast Elliott as their father, a gruff, conservative alcoholic. It was a stark contrast to the stoic, noble characters he usually portrayed. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Elliott explained his hesitation. For one, performing in front of a live studio audience felt foreign and nerve-wracking, something he hadn't done since his school play days. "I was terrified when we started," he confessed. But what truly gave him pause was the show's casual approach to alcoholism. "Who am I to judge?" he reflected. Despite his reservations, Elliott embraced the role. He remained a central figure on the ranch throughout its 4-season run from 2016 to 2020, proving his comedic timing was as sharp as his dramatic chops. Elliott, often hailed as one of the last true Western actors, has built a legacy rooted in his fierce loyalty to the genre. Even when stepping outside of it, his passion for preserving the spirit of the American West remains evident. That passion, however, landed him in controversy in March 2022. During a candid interview on Marc Maron's WTF podcast, Elliott sharply criticized Jane Campion's Oscar-winning film, The Power of the Dog. He questioned the film's depiction of homoeroticism within a Western context and challenged Campion's qualifications as a New Zealander to reinterpret the American frontier. While he did acknowledge her talent, he argued that the film's portrayal of an all-male cattle drive misrepresented the historical realities of the Old West. His comments sparked an immediate backlash. Critics accused him of homophobia and historical ignorance. Campion responded bluntly on a separate podcast, stating, "He's not a cowboy either, he's an actor." The uproar was swift and intense. By April 2022, while promoting 1883, Elliott offered a public apology. He addressed both Campion and the LGBTQ+ community, admitting with humility, "First, don't do a podcast with the call letters WTF." His contrition, though understated, marked an important moment of reflection. Off-screen, Elliott's legacy is equally rich. He and his wife, actress Catherine Ross, form one of Hollywood's most enduring couples. Though both appeared in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Their relationship didn't begin until years later, when they co-starred in the 1978 horror film The Legacy. By then, Elliott had long admired Ross, particularly her performance in the Civil War drama Shenandoah. They married in 1984, her fifth marriage, and a new beginning for both. Shortly after, they welcomed their only child, Cleo Rose Elliott. Cleo, a musician and model based in Malibu, has followed her own artistic path. While she hasn't achieved the same fame as her parents, they have shown her unwavering support. However, the family has faced challenges. In 2011, headlines emerged when Ross filed a restraining order against Cleo, citing years of abuse, including a violent incident involving scissors. The aftermath was kept largely private, but the emotional strain was evident. Despite the turbulence, the family has slowly mended. In recent years, Cleo has appeared alongside her parents at public events, including the 2023 Screen Actors Guild Awards. That night, when Elliott accepted his award for 1883, he delivered a heartfelt tribute to Ross, calling her, "My beautiful Catherine, my partner through thick and thin." It was a moving reminder of their nearly four-decade marriage, a remarkable achievement in the ever-shifting landscape of Hollywood relationships. Their enduring bond is likely sustained by shared values and a love for privacy. Away from the cameras, the couple retreats to their 2.6-acre seaside ranch in Malibu, which they purchased in the 1970s and which has likely appreciated to millions in value. In addition, Elliott owns property in Oregon's Willamette Valley and inherited his childhood home in Portland after his mother's death in 2012. This blend of luxury and simplicity reflects the Elliott's grounded nature, celebrated Hollywood icons who still hold fast to their down-to-earth roots.